All right, when we look at Unit 2, Meteorology, and we scroll down to the very bottom of the page here, hopefully I'm not making you sick, and we enter the double black diamond, which is a pretty sick task. It says here for our learning targets that I can collect weather data on a daily basis for 3 locations, and so you have been doing that over the past couple weeks, and you should have up to 6 total dates of recorded weather at this point. It also says then that you can connect ideas and apply the concepts that you learned about with the properties of water to create an infographic to prove that weather is affected by elevation. So here for our first task, and the only task for the double black diamond, is that you need to use your weather data collector table, which is in your science notebook, for the 3 locations. And you're going to create a graph to show the high temp and low temp for each location over the period of your data collection. So let's figure out how we're going to tackle this task. So here I've got some graph paper with our X and Y axis on it, the X axis and our Y axis. Now the X axis is always going to be, well, most of the time, it's going to relate to time. And the time that we recorded this time was the date. And so we're not going to write time on there, but we'll just write the date is going to be our label for this bottom axis. And you should have a total of 6 different dates. So let's just say that I collected on 9/9, 9/10, 9/11, 9/12, 9/13, and we'll say 9/14. Now, it's going to be important that we keep this nice and organized, so let's move this, down just a little bit with the magic of computers. And let's get rid of this other part here because we're not writing time on that axis. So here we've got our date on our x-axis, and we now know the dates because they're all written out. Now for each date you recorded 3 different locations, and you recorded the high and the low temperature as well as some other information, but the black diamond task is only asking you to plot the temperature, the high and low temperature. So since the information that we're going to plot on this is temperature, our y-axis should be labeled with temperature. Now your temperature axis is going to be related to whatever numbers you collected. And so I just want to give you a quick visual of what this should look like in the end now that you know how to set up your graph. So in order to plot 3 different locations, let's say that my green is going to be Fort Collins. So on 9/9, Fort Collins is going to have a low temp, which let's say it was 60, and it's going to have a high temp, which let's say that that was 80 degrees. I'm going to use a different color here to show the 3 different locations, and I encourage you to do that too when you make your infographic. So let's say Estes Park probably had a lower temperature than Fort Collins did, and the high temperature probably didn't get as hot as Fort Collins did. So again, I'm putting the high temp as my top dot, my low temp as the bottom dot, and I'm connecting them with a line. If I were to do the same thing, well, let's make also, we got to make sure our key is here so that we know what the different colors are. So we'll say that this is Estes Park. And then let's do one more, and I'll use blue for Long's Peak. Long's Peak. Now Long's Peak probably had an even colder low temp and an even colder high temp as well. So what I should see then for, let's get out a highlighter so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. For the date of 9/9, I have 3 different data points that are all plotted right here on my graph. I would expect that for 9/10 or September 10th, I would see 3 more here clumped together. For 9/11, I would see 3 more clumped together. So if I were to kind of draw this out to show some other dates here, I would just estimate here just to show you what this might look like in the end. But each spot is going to have 3 different locations, and you're applying the high and the low temp for each. And just as a reminder, this top dot is the high temp for that location on that day. The bottom dot is our low temp that was recorded for that location on that day. This is your infographic, And when you finish it, make sure that you include a title, not the word title, but truly a title that describes what the heck is the information that is in your graph. So your title should be descriptive. Should be descriptive and explain what the viewer is seeing. So here I would say that this is a temperature of the high and low, this is a graph of the high and low temperatures for 3 different locations over a series of 6 different days. You can do this on graph paper. You could do this on